I'm not going to talk very much about Shadow of the Colossus. There's been a lot of words, and even a pretty good book, written about this game. I only really want to mention how astonishing it is that this 12-year-old AAA game has no side quests, no inventory, no trash mobs, no map mess, no crafting system, no upgradable weapons. The purity of focus of this game is something we don't normally see outside of indie games. Of the 4 classic games that I've played so far in this 12 and 12 project, Shadow of the Colossus is by far the one I enjoyed the most, and I think was one of the most memorable gaming experiences I've ever had. But instead of talking about the game, if you'll indulge me, I want to get a little personal. One thing that you might not be able to guess about me is that if you sit next to me while I'm playing a difficult game, you'll likely witness a display of rage. I can't show you what that looks like, but I can try to describe it. When I get angry at a game, I always direct that anger inwards. I get pissed off at myself for playing badly. I rant, I curse myself out, call myself an idiot a lot, among other names, sometimes even just smack myself really hard in the head with the heel of my hand like that. I'm just consumed by self-loathing. This happened to me playing Final Fantasy X, it happened to me playing Tomb Raider, it happened to me a lot in Super Metroid, and it happened to me in Shadow of the Colossus. On, I think, the second or third boss, I was just sort of wailing on myself for making the same mistake repeatedly. My wife, as always, was getting deeply concerned about this behaviour, and I realised that unless I could fix my brain, I couldn't carry on playing games like this. I mean, if I couldn't handle Shadow of the Colossus, what was I going to do when it came to playing Dark Souls? I think most of the games that I've enjoyed playing in recent years, aside from puzzle games, have been low-skill games. Things like RPGs and MMOs, where the biggest factor is not how good the player is, but how long they've been playing. I've been rewarded by so many games for just investing time that I forgot how many games out there require coordination and timing and reflexes. And because of this, I've gradually lost most of my tolerance for difficulty and challenge. But playing these games for 12 in 12, many of which are somewhat challenging, has brought me face to face with that fact. In 2013, a blogger called Dr. Professor wrote a widely circulated article called Awesome by Proxy, Addicted to Fake Achievement. And he wrote about this idea, that we were being conditioned by certain types of games to expect rewards when we hadn't earned them by achieving any level of mastery. We'd just grinded the levels or the gear, things which normally take more time than skill. And he argued that this was psychologically harmful, that it primed us to expect praise and rewards, not for trying hard, but for just showing up and doing the thing. That gradually this would reinforce mental attitudes that undervalued the importance of perseverance, of trying and failing repeatedly until we succeed. He wasn't saying that this was the fault of these types of games, by the way, but it is the way that many players choose to play them. It's the way that I play games. I tend to play games on easy to enjoy the story, but maybe that's not the way to go. Maybe by turning the challenge down when I can, I've created this situation where I get easily frustrated when I try to play a game that's inherently challenging. Tomb Raider, Super Metroid, Shadow of the Colossus. No amount of grinding in these games makes them easier. They all require some level of mastery, and I've had a hard time with each. But now that I've realised that, I can try to be more mindful of it, to accept repeated failure and not get frustrated by it, but to embrace it as a necessary and positive part of beating a skill-based game. And maybe if I can adopt that attitude, Dark Souls won't be a rage fest. It'll be a nice chilled out experience. Next up, we'll do a little light piracy in The Secret of Monkey Island. Thanks for watching.